Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn, New York. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Brooklyn. Welcome to Brooklyn on Boxing Day. And why is it boxing? Is it like the martial sport of boxing, Mara? Or is it you deal with all the boxes left over and the waste from opening presents? Mara, do you know?
Well, the holiday began as a day to give gifts to the poor.
Okay. And what's that got to do with boxing?
I think
It became official. Yeah. Let's see.
Gives. All right.
Some
You go.
boxes.
You get on that, Mara.
It originally began in the UK, and it's got its name during Queen Victoria's reign, and is now
reign.
celebrated in several countries across Europe.
Or
Which include it being a day off for the servants, and they'd receive a gift from their employers and take these Christmas boxes to their families.
Okay.
And the boxes consist of gifts, bonuses, as well as leftovers from the Christmas meal.
so it's more like box day, not boxing. Boxing sounds like we're about to fight somebody. That's when I hear boxing day.
Raghunath,
I'm like,
you're a little
go out.
grumpy today.
I'm a little grumpy.
Just celebrate the day. Just
I have a
celebrate.
vegan cannoli hangover going on today.
All right.
And, there's all these Italian pastries I can't eat. So vegan trucker packed us a box of vegan cannolis, and I ate about 4 of them. And now I'm feeling it.
Right.
Yeah. And I didn't want to do the show today. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I didn't want to do it, and I'm
You're
here.
grumpy.
So I don't want to hear anything, Kastuba. I don't want to hear anything today about me.
Being a grumpus.
Yeah, being a grumpus.
All right. Then
I'm showing
why
up.
don't we-
I'm doing my duty. I'm trying to do it with a little love.
You're so festive the last few shows. You were just like, so happy.
You really swung the other way.
Yeah.
That's the problem with being extra festive. You get the other side now. The ping and the pong. The ganip, the ganop.
Now you just build up your festive mood until we get to next Christmas season. Is that it? Just
Yeah, and then we have a
whole year
meeting.
to get you there.
Then I have a meeting after this, and then we got to drive back upstate, and
It
then
could be a great meeting. and
dinner at
you have a
Mara's
wonderful
tonight.
drive.
Dinner at Mara's tonight.
That's nice. There's so many things to look
With
forward to.
Papa Tony.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Anyway, we had a good Christmas with the kids.
See.
It was nice.
Good.
All
Uh,
right.
What about announcements?
I don't have my hot drinks with me.
It's
Aw.
okay. Raghunath.
Room is very cold. I'm just in a complaining mood.
All right, announcements. We have a Back to Recovery group meeting today at 1:00. The Shloka memorization group is going to start up soon. If people are interested in that, they can go to wisdomofthesages.com and then click on groups and go to Shloka memorization group.
Okay.
Do we have a lot of groups? Like different groups, or is how many groups do we have? Like if you click on groups,
No,
it's
just like one group?
The groups is not really.
Yeah.
I think it lists the sage groups there, and then it lists that. Our whole
There's
website
the Back
it
to
needs be
Recovery
updated.
group.
Don't
Yeah, it
even
does.
talk about our website.
all right, sorry about that.
All right. Also, if you want to
It's like, are there a bunch of groups I don't know about?
But there are all kind of groups out there that we don't even know about. You know, like there's all kind of reading groups and different.
Well, you
kind
know
of
what's
groups.
happening is they're meeting together, not telling us these.
They're
That's a
colluding.
problem with our community. They're
Those are
starting.
called collusion groups.
They're collusion groups. Overthrow the podcast. Do you remember the time during Zoom when people would, and they had to start making codes, when people just get on and start talking over you? Remember that? It happened for like 3 days, and then Zoom came up with codes. You'd get bombarded
Zoom
by
had-
people.
yeah,
we got bombed.
security.
It was called bombing or something. We got bombed one show early on.
Yeah, I think a
Remember that?
couple days in a row we got bombed. Sort of exciting.
It
Who
was
are you
exciting.
guys?
We got control of it.
Yeah. And then everybody got passwords. Okay. Sorry about that.
How about Nugget, Ragana? How about you got a nugget for us?
Are you done with your announcements?
Well, I was going to mention your pilgrimage to Nepal, March
Okay.
13th to 25th. If people
We
want to
got 2
sign up, they
days.
can go to raganath.yoga.
Thank you. We got 2 days left of that, or else we're not going. We're going to close.
I really
that.
want.
We're
I wanna
So
go.
grumpy.
I'm really grumpy today. You got 2 days. We're about to close that. And if you've never been to Nepal, it's quite majestic, isn't it?
Oh,
Maryland.
and Vivi wants me to announce Italy 2023, June 27th through July 4th, Wisdom of the Sages retreat. And
go.
people can email wotsitaly@gmail.com.
It's a great retreat. It's a great way to experience Italy with a bunch of your people from Wisdom of the Sages.
We had such a great time last year and the year before.
Yeah.
Great time. All right, so here's our nugget for today.
Who's it from?
It's from Andrea Bocelli.
Oh yeah,
Who's she?
it's not a she, it's a he.
Oh, Andrea Bocelli. Okay.
He's the third tenor, the one that nobody knows the name of. I think, right?
I don't know who
I
it
think he
is.
was one of the three tenors. There was Pavarotti.
Amazing singer, absolutely fantastic, and he's blind.
He's
Well,
blind.
everybody knows him, it seems. The message board is going crazy. I apologize. I'm having a rough day. Now all the listeners are coming
No,
down
it's gonna be
on me
case.
now. You don't know
The
who-
world's most beloved tenor.
He's the most beloved tenor of them all. We're gonna.
Well, I guess I'm not part of the world.
He's so grumpy.
Never heard of him.
Open your arms up to him, Ragnar. Be part of the world.
Even vegan truckers getting down on me. He's like, you don't know who he is.
Eating cannoli and just.
You guys
totally
all
oblivious.
listen to. Do you guys all listen to opera? What's going on? How does everybody know who he is?
He's famous.
He's recorded 15 solo studio albums of both pop and classical music.
So have I.
Oh, he does that one, that really like majestic one. Da, 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 da. You know that one? I think that's
I
it.
don't. Maybe I know him. If he's one of those guys. Maybe I'd know him if I heard him.
He
He's
was
done
also
Christmas
named.
songs.
He was also
it?
named one of People Magazine's 50 most beautiful people.
I
He's
don't
very
read
beautiful,
People
too.
magazine. Okay, I'm having a rough morning. You read
What's
this
going
nugget.
on, Ragnar?
You read this nugget.
Okay, I'll read the nugget, but I don't want you to just like lose touch. I want you to hear the nugget and be part of this. You ready?
Marissa's seen him in concert.
Yeah, he's huge.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
He's
It's
on
small,
PBS
it's
all the
short,
time.
and it's right to the point. You ready?
Yep.
All that counts in life is intention. Should I say that again?
I don't think you have to say it again
Okay. You were
because it's pretty short.
Okay.
I'll say it again without even looking at it.
Yeah.
All that counts in life is intention.
What
You
do
know
you think
what?
he means by that?
I agree. You know what? I agree with that.
Okay. Well, isn't it sometimes that like your intentions aren't enough? You actually have to do
Yeah,
something?
people say, "Oh, good intentions are not enough. You
Yeah.
better." I think they are enough.
Okay.
you're- I think if you have a good intention,
Yeah.
if there's a God in the sky, he appreciates your intention. Sometimes you can't live up to what you want to become, what you want to do, the person you want to be, but your intention is there. I feel like it's one of those, like the Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna preserves what you have and carries what you lack.
Mhm.
I always felt like Krishna's helping you along. He sees what's in the heart.
I think that's where we're going here. You know, the way that I understand, and of course, I don't know the context in which he said this, but in one sense, our intention is really all that we have control over, right? Like, I may intend the best and not be able to achieve it, but in the end, all I can be judged for is the intention, you know, right? Like, obviously that intention should manifest through action. It should manifest through doing the best that I can to achieve the intention. But in one sense, all we truly have control over is the intention. You could say the effort too, but I suppose if the intention is sincere, the effort is there. Yeah.
Jeffrey Ackler on the message board says the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
You see,
what
they
does that
say
mean?
stuff like that.
What does that mean?
It means that even you may intend well, everything doesn't necessarily end up well, and that's a fact. But if your intention was
I don't
right,
think that's what that means, Mara. Do you? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
I'm not sure.
What do you think it means then? You know, I meant to do well. Okay, but you created hell over here for me. Okay, well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Your good intentions is kind of a way of saying good intentions aren't enough.
It means insincere intention. Okay.
Right.
I gotta snap out of this funk.
Yeah, pull yourself together.
Sorry, I'm a mess today. I can't expect it to be on every day.
You had that yesterday off, though.
Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe I just not allowed to miss a day.
Yeah. But in any case, I think there's an important point here, and that is that in relation to bhakti practice and in relation to spirituality, right, is that ultimately, and this, I have another quote. This is from Gandhi.
All right, give me another quote.
But it has a very kind of Judeo-Christian flavor to it. But I think he's trying to get at the same point. He says, before the throne of the Almighty, man will be judged, not by his acts, but by his intentions. And then he says, for God alone reads our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
God alone reads our hearts. So, I think it has to do with like the whole Jatayu thing too, right? In other words, he didn't win the battle, but his intention was to give all that he had,
And also the intention must be backed up with action.
Yeah.
I guess it can mean, where it's naysayers will say, well, you have intentions, but you're not doing anything about it.
Then
you intended to do something about it. I think that's where we're going.
Okay.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. Hey, you didn't mention anything about my new jacket I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, very cool. Very cool.
This is Kostuba's Christmas present to me.
There you go. You're happy
now,
with
let me
it?
ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to do this publicly.
Yeah.
But I really like this jacket. I'm wearing it.
Okay.
First thing you said to me, hey, I hope you like this. If it doesn't fit, you can give it to your son. And I thought to myself, I'm a victim of I'm a victim of a regift, aren't I? I'm a victim of a regift.
No,
he
not
bought
at
it
all.
for himself.
I bought it for myself.
Yeah, he wanted it,
was
but
a
it
little
didn't
too
fit.
big for me.
Oh,
so I thought, hey, maybe I'll give this to Raghunath.
That's the best kind of regift.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll take that.
Am I a victim of a regift?
Am I a victim of a regift?
Okay, we got to get this show going here, Raghunath. Come on.
All right. I'm going to snap out of it. Anything else you want to say? Let's just go.
I mean, I could go on with this. I got other quotes, but maybe they'll come up in the show.
Narayanam namaskritya naram shaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tojayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Milatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Mara, please tell us.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 31, Text 3.
This is from Narada Instructs the Prachetas. It's the last chapter of this canto. We're going to go into the 5th canto in a few days.
Yeah, we got about 4 days to wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Let's
burn through these. When I say burn, I mean ingest them deeply.
Okay.
After practicing, Mara, you're still knitting? She's knit all my kids like neck things. She knitted my mom a scarf.
Thing. Oh, I'm
here to appreciate her knitting today.
You go. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'd appreciated her gift. You didn't give me a gift, actually, Raghunath. You just kind of tagged yourself onto Mara's gift. I saw how you did that.
Well, I'm dating her now. I'm dating Mara, so we are one.
Although, it's interesting because Raghu ends up with all the Christmas gifts that people give to us are for him, but the ones that we have to give.
He just tags himself on.
Tag.
But Mara gave us this gift. It was incredible. It was like all these different snacks and stuff.
Actually, those Christmas tins were from Raghu's house.
The tins. I gave the packaging.
They came in these tins.
Mara makes candy. She's like a candy maker from the old
cookies.
World.
These different kind of like peanut brittle kind of things.
No, they're like Clark bars.
And then there was then all these like kind of like Girl Scout cookie kind of things, but like
she makes Girl Scout cookies.
They're incredible.
Or she keeps a bunch of Girl Scouts in her basement.
All right, thank you for that, man. Had to be said. So much effort. That was, what I thought?
That's a lot of effort. I make those Girl Scout cookies. I don't know. That must take hours.
That's what I was thinking, is that actually the sweetest gifts are actually when you cook something for someone you give it.
You know what? I was thinking that too. Even knitting is actually, when you give a knitted thing, it's like you're giving hours of their love. It's so much easier to give like a gift card from
a jacket that doesn't fit you.
A jacket that didn't fit you down there. No, I'm saying give a gift card from Barnes and Nobles or from Home Depot or whatever you give a gift card from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something. But knitting something, baking something, that's like a labor of love.
It is. It's true. Thank you, Mara.
You're welcome, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Now, what's happened here is the great sage Narada is going to meet the Prachetas. They've already met Lord Shiva. They went down, they did their meditation, they came back out, they started burning everything down. They met Brahma, they met Soma. Now they've gone off. They've left the kingdom behind. They've enjoyed material life and power and responsibility, although doing it as yogis. Now they've walked away from that responsibility. They're going out to get into the final years of their life and to go back into their deep meditations. Who stops by, Raghunath?
Narada Muni.
Narada, great soul.
You know what? I had no clue. I wasn't even listening. I was thinking like, I wonder if you Amazoned this jacket. Because if you get something from Amazon, if I get something from Amazon that's wrong, I'm just like, well, that's a loss. To repackage something and send it back, figure out how to send it back, that's enough for me to like pull what remaining hair I have in my head out of my head. So my question is this, Kastuba, did you Amazon this jacket and you're like, I'm not sending this back? Did you get this from Amazon?
I didn't, but it's hardly the point. We were building in another direction, right? We're the banter. We're going to set that aside for now, okay? And we're going to get into this.
Okay, well, I appreciate that then, because if it was from a shop, you could have easily returned it. But I thought maybe like, I'm not returning this. I'll just give it to Raghunath.
I love you, Raghunath. I wanted to express my love for you.
Thank you. And I'm wearing it. I've worn it 2 days in a row now.
Thank you. Do you think of me when you?
I do.
Okay. All right, Narada Muni. He shows up. Let's hear about it. Text 3.
Text 3. After practicing yoga asanas for mystic yoga, it makes it sound like there's yoga asanas that are exclusive for mystics.
I think they're just saying yoga, it's the purpose, right? The yoga, they were doing it for a particular purpose. It wasn't for
hamstrings.
It wasn't to look sexier. Yeah, it wasn't. It was for
tight
mystic
hips.
yoga.
Okay. After practicing yoga asanas for mystic yoga, the Prachetas managed to control their life air,
Pranayama.
mind, words, and external vision.
Hmm.
Thus, by the pranayama process, they were completely relieved of material attachment. By remaining perpendicular, they could concentrate their minds on the uppermost Brahman. While they were practicing this pranayama, the great sage Narada, who was worshipped both by demons and the demigods, came to see them. I didn't realize demons worship Narada.
Well, that's really important here, right? I mean, you see, even just like a little thing like that, that's not. I don't believe that that's mentioned just like in passing, right?
Yeah, I mean, Kamsa actually spoke to Narada, and he respected Narada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcomed him, honored him. So really important, you know. I think even in that point, right? Here's this. He's all about bhakti yoga. He's all about worshiping Lord Vishnu, right? So generally, you would think that the asuras, the more demoniac characters, and there's this upper, you know, higher planetary system battle going on, you know, between these kind of godly, the suras, you know, the demigods versus the demons or the asuras. And you would think, okay, Narada, he fits in with this crowd, but not the other crowd, right?
Yeah.
It would seem that way, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But here, there's a special mention, you know. It seems like it could just be mentioned in passing, but I don't believe so. I believe that it has some meaning. It says that the great sage Narada, who is worshipped both by the asuras and the suras, why mention this? And I believe that there's like a clue about life. Just in mentioning that, you know, a clue about like how an evolved soul relates to others. You know, like what is it about them that everyone appreciates, no matter where they're coming from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's really how people relate they relate to everybody in an equipoised way, but people relate to them. I mean, they're easy to appreciate. I guess
But-
unless you're really evil.
No, but you know, in other words, I think what it's saying is that when you meet someone that's truly evolved, they look past the externals and they understand, you know, and sympathize and appreciate the person that's underneath. No matter
Sure.
who they are or what position they're in, they have a deeper understand. Like most of us have a hard time getting beyond externals, and for the most superficial of us, it's the very outer external, right? And then for someone who's more thoughtful, it may go down a layer, you
Sure.
know. But
what does that got to do with? What does that got to do with the demons worship him?
Well, that's what I'm working towards. So in other words, when someone has this very deep spiritual vision, spiritual attitude, then like say you're a demon, Raghunath, right? You had your big mustache, right?
Not all demons have mustaches, and people
They
with
do in the
mustaches.
comic books, don't they?
Dr. Sean Patrick has a mustache. He's not a demon.
I'm not saying
He's
that.
got a
but
little demon goatee too.
I'm just saying when they're portrayed in your Amrita
Chitrakuta comic books.
I
Yeah,
think
they
the
all
demons
have
always
mustaches.
have a mustache, right?
Yeah.
And so like you're probably used to being received that way. Like, you know, okay, my people, they accept me, but other people don't accept me. They're actually my enemies. And as soon as we begin to talk, I know that no matter what facade they're putting up, even if it's likely they're going to come at me with aggression, with criticism. They don't understand who I really am, you know, and they never will, because they don't care to find out my heart and what really makes me tick and so on, you know. They think that I'm just horrible and evil right to the very core. And we will never have any kind of unity between us. Whereas someone like Narada, there's something about him in his behavior, in his words, in his entire disposition that's palpable, right? That this person is not judging me. This person is not against me. This person does not see me as an enemy. somehow they communicate that through their being, through, and it's felt. And so even the demons, like, you know what, maybe he's not kind of like on our team,
Right.
but he's for real, this guy, and he understands me, he kind of gets me. And maybe that is, what that's, when you have that deep spiritual understanding, you don't see anyone as your enemy. And there's something in it that's so palpable that everybody has to appreciate. It's something truthful, something sincere, that people
It's like when they beat.
understand.
It's like when they beat Haridas Thakur. They were trying to beat him to death, and he was sort of unaffected, and he was.
It was the job of these people, right? It was these certain people were given the responsibility. Now you had to beat him in all these different marketplaces, make a show of this,
beating up this devotee saint, and the person took the beating with like he was completely equal and
he
loving.
Didn't become angry at the people doing it.
Didn't become angry, and forgave his aggressors. And it's sort of like, after a while, the aggressors were like, wait a second, what are we doing? Who is this guy that we're beating? Now it seems like we're doing something actually very evil. I know they demonized this person, but now we're realizing the truth of it. This person is not a demon at all. He's a great prophet. And so, eventually things start to shift. Your paradigm starts to shift.
Yeah. I think there's something in it for all of us. In other words, we all have different roles to play in life, you know, and sometimes, like you play a role where you will be perceived as a problem for someone else, or even an enemy for someone else, and you have to play this role. Now, Nard is someone, he has none of those external roles. His only role is to share bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something so deeply spiritual about him that even everybody's picking up on it, and nobody feels judged by him. Nobody feels everyone is perceiving he's not playing the games that we play. He's not, stuck in the same kind of roles and attitudes and, conformed type of thinking that we all have. He sees the soul, he sees the good in everyone, and they can feel it. To me, there's a clue that we're meant to come to this, right? Even though we have to play the different roles that we have to play, maybe. But as we progress in life, we have to try to let go. We gradually let go of some of those roles, but we also try to let go of some of our attitudes. We try to let go of our feelings of being judgmental. We try to see the soul in every living being. And the more that we become like that, the more that people feel very comfortable with us, the more that people feel very appreciative of us, Why don't you read the last paragraph of the commentary here? Probably speaks a little bit about it. Yeah, on 3. It starts with the great sage Narada.
The great sage Narada travels everywhere. He goes to the demons and the demigods and is equally respected. He's consequently described herein as Suredya, worshipped both by demons and demigods. For Narada Muni, the door of every house is open. Although there's perpetual animosity between the demons and the demigods, Narada Muni is welcome everywhere. Narada is considered one of the demigods, of course, and the word Deva Rishi means the saintly person among the demigods. But even the demons envy Narada Muni. Therefore, he is
not even the demons.
Oh, I'm sorry, but not even the demons envy Narada Muni.
Or have animosity towards him, right?
Yeah. Therefore, he is equally worshipped by both demigods and demons. A perfect Vaishnava's position should be just like Narada Muni's, completely independent and unbiased.
Sometimes there are people that become demonized.
Yeah.
Right. And the saintly person will, even if that person's behavior has been wrong, the saintly person may say, I know that underneath, I will sympathize with this person, I won't necessarily condone their behavior, but at the same time, I won't hate them.
Sure.
And sometimes the rest of society is calling upon them to demonize.
Sure.
And they may feel, but I believe this has something to do with that here. A perfect Vaishnava's position should be just like Narada Muni's, completely independent and unbiased.
Well, I think a big reason is because as people practicing bhakti, wherever anybody's at, we are encouraging them to move forward. Wherever anybody's at,
Sure.
we understand that at any moment somebody could change, and therefore no one should be held or fixed in a position. Whatever you did yesterday is yesterday, and we want to encourage them to upgrade their life today. Yesterday's dead, and now is your future.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, yeah, no one can be held to what they were. We're not our past. Our past doesn't equal our future, and our past isn't equal our identity. We're actually free from that. And I think a lot of times people suffer from what they were in the past, and it stays with them, or who they were, and you don't know my history. Doesn't matter. It's over. Isn't that good news? And I think it's, as devotees, we have to also be able to forgive. And sometimes we forget it, and we're calling for like almost like a crucifixion. I think it's important that we forgive. It doesn't mean if someone's done a crime, they shouldn't be punished for that crime. But it means that in my heart, I'm not condemning them. No one's condemned. Everybody has the opportunity to change at any minute. And on the other side of that, I don't want to be the condemner of somebody. People can change. Sometimes they have to be, suppose you have a family or a community or a society. Sometimes they have to change outside that circle because they're not qualified to be let back in that circle if they're unsafe or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to be a person who just hates a person for their activities of the past. That's going against everything that we believe in. People can change, and we should encourage people to change. And I don't want people to hold me to something I was 5 years ago, yesterday, 20 years ago, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is important. I think it's also important to state that doesn't mean, and you did state, that doesn't mean that someone doesn't need to be punished or removed from a circle of people, because if they are dangerous, if they've committed crimes, right, if they've hurt others,
that's okay, maybe they're not doing it. Maybe they're not doing it today, but they should be. What do you call it? Maybe they're not welcome back into that circle.
That may be, but I think this also plays out in when I hear this last sentence. Completely independent and unbiased. Yeah. That also kind of plays into like say like the political realm, which is kind of like the opposite of, like, the politician is kind of in some ways like the opposite of the sage or let's say the sadhu, right? That where your thought is meant, you're pressured that your thought not be independent, but that it fall in line, right? And when someone else on the other side speaks, whatever they're saying must be condemned, and the independent thinker says, let me hear what they say. Maybe even I largely disagree with them, most things that they have to say, but maybe there's something that we do agree on. Maybe there is some good coming from there. Maybe there's more than we think about, and maybe there's some problems coming from our side too, rather than just the blind defense of our side and condemnation of the other side. A sage isn't caught up in that, right? A sage is, and that's Narada. And there's something about that in him that was so distinct and so thorough, so integral to him, that people were picking up on it. And it's really, then you can become an instrument, of grace, when you can kind of engender that kind of trust, Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so Narada's there. He showed up on the scene.
All right, text 4. As soon as the Pracheta saw the great Narada had appeared, that must be amazing. Narada just shows up. Yeah. They immediately, these guys are seeing everybody. They immediately got up, even from their asanas. Stop the yoga class. Narada's here. As required, they immediately offered obeisances and worshipped him. And when they saw that Narada Muni was properly seated, they began to ask him questions.
I think this is important too, right? Because they were absorbed in their very important spiritual practice, right? And then somebody showed up. They immediately set aside their very important spiritual practice and regulations and greeted him, right? And so You know, like for instance, within the regulations of Archana, you know, the regulations of the seva, or the worship of the form of the Lord, like temple worship. It's said that if you're the one performing that ritual, and another Vaishnava, another bhakti yogi enters into that space, that you're actually meant to stop the ritual and greet them. Right? Which to a lot of minds that might seem like, well, hold it, you're worshiping God, and then some other ordinary person walks into the room. Keep your attention focused on God. But again, the whole point to the temple worship is that you begin to see God in everyone. You begin to see the connection of everyone to God. And so therefore it said, therefore you greet that person well, because actually it's actually more pleasing to God than the ritual that you're doing directly, right?
It's a nice way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you see the people who are doing the work. You appreciate people who are doing the work to get closer.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have been doing the work, hard work, and you want to stop everything and welcome them, and that pleases God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, it says here, yata adesham, according to the regulative principles, the desha, you know, like the upadesha, like according to the instructions, they're following yogic instructions very, very strictly, right?
Right.
Still, they set all that aside because it's more important to greet this. So in other words, the etiquette in bhakti yoga is that it's putting the appreciation of people over regulations. And if we put the regulations over the people, it's kind of like you're missing the, what do they call it? Missing the forest for the trees, right?
Yeah.
The regulations are so that you do begin to see God in everyone and in everywhere and so on. And then you neglect that, you actually miss the point. Okay. Text 5.
Text 5. All the prachetas began to address the great sage Narada. All of them at once. Oh, great sage.
Maybe in harmony.
Oh, great sage. Oh, Brahmana, we hope you met with no disturbances while coming here. It is due to our great fortune that we are able to now see you. By the traveling of the sun, people are relieved from the fear of the darkness of night, a fear brought about by thieves and rogues. Similarly, your traveling is like the sun's, for you drive away all kinds of fear.
Nice.
Yes. Oh, Master, may we inform you that because of our being overly attached to our family affairs, we almost forgot the instructions we received from Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu.
So they're saying, yeah, you know, Shiva gave us these instructions, Vishnu gave us these instructions. Then we went back and we took up our material responsibilities. We tried to do it as good yogis, but it's just the nature of this world, right?
Just the nature.
Drag you into forgetfulness of
you get caught up in the minutia. You got kids, you know that. There's some very, very, you get caught in the day-to-day things. You forget about the ultimate goal, that life is short. What's it really about, etc.
But now they've made this bold move. They've walked away from it all. They're out in the forest. They're doing their meditation. They're saying, it's so great that you've come by, because now you can give us some good instructions about how to go deeper.
The devotee is the great reminder, right? You meet some devotee.
Note that one down there, man. The devotee is the great reminder.
The great reminder, yeah. You know, I had a good realization yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was that before or after the 4 cannolis that you ate?
It was way before the 4 cannolis. I don't know when it originated, but maybe Beyonce originated, but, you know, say his name, say his name, say his name. Like this idea, like if you don't say his name, you're not giving a
Beyonce. I really don't think so. But okay, go ahead.
Yes, it was. It was Destiny's Child, my friend. Say my name, say my name.
Yeah, but I don't think that. I don't know if there's a connection.
I know, but then it got upcycled to like a George Floyd or
say his name.
Say his name.
Because they feel some of these important people, they're depersonalized. Say their names when we identify the victim as a true person, then we actually begin to feel for them.
And, yes, exactly. So say that person's name, give that person a name behind a victim, etc. So I had that realization yesterday while I was
say God's name.
While I was doing my puja, and I'm offering incense, and my deities each have a different name. So I was
Okay.
going Giridhari,
Oh.
Sham Kishore,
Hmm.
Radhabanki Kishore, Lala Govinda. And I was going through each one. I was like, and then I was like, say his name. Don't just wave the incense where you can just do it ritualistically. Say their name. They're beings.
That's right.
And their names evoke a type of affection I have for them. Giridhari, right? He's the Lord of the hill. And Sham Kishore, his complexion, he's a young boy. And all these names bring out more things. So say their name. Now when I do puja, I say their name.
Say their name, say their name.
If you want some butter, you're my little. Say your name. So I say, that's my new thing now. Say his name. And I've been saying my name. And before I offer them food, I say their name. Would you like some? Would you like some? Would you like some? Are you hungry? Would you like this offering? And I go through each name.
Nice.
That was my realization. Otherwise, without saying the name, sometimes it gets a little ritualistic.
Gotcha.
I'll say, how are you feeling this morning?
I suppose that's part of why mantra is connected to the seva as well, right? It's all done with mula mantras, which include the names.
The mula mantra, yes.
The object of your devotion.
Yep. All right, where are we at?
It is
7?
7.
Dear Master, kindly enlighten us in transcendental knowledge, which may act as a torchlight by which we may cross the dark nescience of material existence. It's pretty dark out there. It's pretty dark. Transcendental knowledge is the torchlight. Yes.
Text 8.
Text 8. Continuing on. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, being thus petitioned by the Prachetas, the supreme devotee Narada, who is always absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, began to reply. Let's hear what he has to say.
This is good stuff. There's going to be like a lot of times in Shastra, right, in these sacred yogic texts, there's a comparison. Two ideas are juxtaposed, right?
Yeah.
That's going to happen right now.
The great sage Narada said, when a living entity is born to engage in bhakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller, his birth, all his fruitive activities, his lifespan, his mind, and his words are factually perfect.
Okay.
All those things. Your birth is perfect. Your work in this world is perfect. Your lifespan, just like, I should have lived longer. Now, whatever you lived is perfect.
Yeah, that's nice. It mentions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Janma, your birth.
Karma.
Was I born in a circumstance?
A poor family, a rich family.
Yeah, that's going to be favorable for my happiness. And,
in the family of a royal family. Who cares? It's perfect.
Yeah. Karma, the reactions that I'm due to the results of my previous actions.
We see sometimes even bad actions assist us in or bad results of our actions assist us in getting closer to God. We see sometimes good actions, not just good actions, but sometimes good actions. But sometimes we do something bad, a horrible reaction comes, and it perpetuates me and trampoline springs me even higher than what normally closer to God. So yeah, our karma becomes perfect.
Then the third one was ayu, the span of one's life.
Right. So we hear someone like Lord Chaitanya or Jesus Christ. It's like they didn't live very long time, but in that time they're very, very fortunate. Who cares if you're living she lived to 104 years old. If they didn't have any spiritual significance, hey, they could be criminals. 104-year-old criminal. Who cares? The span of their life is perfect.
Okay. Then
sometimes we even meet young people that are like very, they're connected to bhakti, but they die unexpectedly.
It does happen.
And you think, wow, maybe that's just had to burn off some karma. Their life becomes perfect even if they were like 8 years old. Okay.
Then the next one was manaha, one's mind or one's thoughts.
Sure. One's mind become thoughts because all their thoughts are going towards how can I serve?
Or even if, like, say, my mind, I wish my mind were always focused like a true yogi, but my mind gets tortured by all kind of unfortunate thoughts. They flow through my mind. Okay, but still, if your intention is to serve, right?
Yeah.
This is where we're getting back to that intention question. If your intention is to serve, then that also doesn't matter at all. And even that's considered perfect. That despite you're up one day and down the other day, you kept your intention steady. I'll continue to serve. I'll continue to serve. My mind might not be the mind of the perfect yogi, right? But my intention is always to serve. And then vachaha, one's words.
The words become perfect.
The words become perfect. Even I might not have good language. I might not speak the language well. I might not speak English well, but because my words are all made an offering, they're perfect, right? Because the intention behind them is always to serve, even though I might not be the best orator in the world, right? But those words are considered perfect. So this verse is saying, and this is, as I mentioned, it's going to be juxtaposed to the next verse. But this verse is saying that despite external imperfections, whatever we have becomes perfect when our purpose is selfless, right? When our intention is selfless, right? That despite all the external imperfections, whatever we have becomes perfect. Now, in the next one, text 10, it's going to say the opposite, or it's going to juxtapose it. It's going to say external perfection becomes imperfect when one's intentions are selfish. I might be born just right. I might, etc. It's not yeah.
Before we go there, I just want to share, because yoga teachers go through this a lot, is, you're doing a yoga teacher training and you invite in a Sanskrit expert, and they come in and they start correcting all your words. Oh, you're saying that word. You're saying down dog wrong. You're chanting that mantra wrong. And it's just like, oh God, I'm doing everything wrong. My whole yogic background is wrong. The meter's wrong. And they're just sort of like Sanskrit shaming you. Ever meet people like that? They try to Sanskrit shame you. Well, check this out. You're doing it absolutely right if you're doing it with bhakti, because that intention is what Krishna hears. It's like if a little baby is calling for water to the mother and pointing towards the sink. Wah, 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 wah. The mother understands the intention. The mother's not going to say, you get no water. How dare you ask for water? And hey, you say it right. The mother understands. Wah, 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 wah. Krishna understands your mantras. He appreciates your heart. He sees where you're going with this. If you're doing it without your ego involved, Krishna sees that. That's perfect, even though the Sanskrit is perfect. So what do you think about that, Sanskrit guy?
Who, me? I'm not a Sanskrit guy.
No, not you.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
I'm talking about that.
Do you know the name of Krishna that we sometimes use to express this? Right? That he always accepts one's inner intention?
No, what?
Bhava Grahi Janardana, right?
Ooh.
Bhava Grahi Janardana.
Bhava
Grahi, he accepts one's bhav. He accepts one's mood. Bhava Grahi Janardana.
That's a good name.
He's Lord Vishnu that accepts the mood that's being offered, right? Rather than exactly what's being offered.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's hear text 10. We'll hear the juxtaposition.
Text 10.
Civilized human being.
All right. A civilized human being has 3 kinds of births. First birth is by a pure father and mother. And this birth is called birth by semen. The next birth takes place when one is initiated by the spiritual master. And this birth is called Savitra. And the third birth is called Yagnika. And it takes place when one is given the opportunity to worship the Lord Vishnu. Despite the opportunities of attaining such births, even if one gets the lifespan of a demigod, if one does not actually engage in the service of the Lord, everything is useless. Similarly, one's activities may be mundane or spiritual, but they are useless if they are not meant for satisfying the Lord. Okay. There we go.
There.
That's it right there.
There you go.
It's sort of like you can, kids can be born into like a very spiritual family where you're worshiping deities, Brahminical family, but this is like the idea of the chosen ones. That's what, like, in Jewish tradition, they say we're the chosen people. Chosen people means you got to choose it, not born into it. You got to choose it, because you can be born into a family of pure devotees. But if with God, you got to choose God today, and you got to choose God every moment. And to the degree that you're choosing God every moment, bing, then you're a chosen person. Otherwise, you're just born into a good family, a fortunate family. And in the same way, you can be born in a destitute, horrific, criminal family, but you say, you know what? I don't want this. I do choose God. Then you're a chosen person as well. Want to be a chosen person? Choose God.
And I think that is what Andrea Bocelli meant when he said, all that counts in life is one's intention.
Yes. Mara, we need some takeaways today from you, dear.
I have some good stuff today.
Yeah.
We can't
center around cannolis.
No, it doesn't.
Cannolis got to be one of them.
No cannolis.
3 wise men, 4 cannolis. Greg DeGasu said that.
We can't control the outcome, but we can control our intention.
That's true.
Cannoli.
Evolved souls relate to all.
All cannolis.
Cannolis.
God knows the intention in our heart.
To get more cannolis.
Not everyone with a mustache is a demon, but all demons have mustaches.
That may be true. I'm not sure, but it may be true.
And eat cannolis.
Venn diagram there.
Demon mustache Venn diagram.
You should put that out on your Instagram today, Raghunath. Like,
that is a good
one. All people with mustaches are not necessarily demons, but all demons definitely have mustaches.
Okay.
Let go of judgment and encourage people to upgrade.
Up it up. Up it up.
Our past doesn't equal our future.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the rituals to greet great souls.
Say his name.
Put the people before the regulations.
Put the people before the regulations. Yep. Good.
Okay.
The devotee is the great reminder.
Oh, I like that one.
Is the great reminder.
Keep a steady, selfless intention to serve for a perfect life.
I mean, did you ever do that? Something happens and sort of like a devotee walks by. You're doing something inappropriate.
They remind you.
Buying drugs on the streets, and all of a sudden a devotee walks by.
All the time,
All right. Choose God at every moment.
Okay.
And say his name.
Say his name. Say his
name. Say his name. If you're doing puja. What rhymes with puja?
Nothing.
Puja.
Fallujah.
Puja. Baluja.
From Scranton to Fallujah.
Ruja. You're worshiping Krishna or Rudra. Huh? Rudra?
Oh.
Rudra.
When you use your mudra. Say it with the
mudra.
Mudra. Do you know the Kaustubha mudra?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think it's like this.
No, you don't have no idea.
It is.
What? Let's see it. No, that's not the Kaustubha mudra.
Like this or something?
No, you're just
no, I'm not.
Speculation.
No, I'm not. This is
the Kaustubha mudra. It's like this.
No, that's not.
Srivatsa is not Kaustubha, right? Those are two different.
I know, but they're
Kaustubha mudra, like this.
Who told you that?
Very wise person.
Yeah.
Experienced. And mudra.
Say your name, say his name when you're doing puja as you bust out your mudras. You know what? I want to write that into a song for tomorrow. Say his name, say his name. When you offer in your boga.